long time. And I wish I could say that things are miraculously better, but actually they're much worse. And so honestly, I really believe this will be my final video ever. um, so so it might go a little long. Hey, I want to talk about a few things that that maybe could really help with the family, you know, to save other people. Because the situation I'm in is just so horrible, and some of you out there are gonna be like, blah blah blah, yeah, yeah, everybody mistreats you. And well, just because things don't work out from place to place doesn't mean it's all us, you know. And I'm making this because it's very it's very important to me. I'm trying to get my voice calmed down. It's very important to me about legacy. There's a Christian song, an older one, about legacy. There's a newer one that has a different take on it, but this says, I want to leave a legacy. How will they remember me? I want to make a mark on things, and want to leave an offering, child of mercy and grace. And I'm sorry, the words are escaping me, but anyway, so you just kind of, you don't really want to, it's like you're wasting energy that you really don't have to talk about things that probably shouldn't matter, but they do to me because I have a grandson. And I won't go into what the things that happened with my fiance, because you guys know that story, and it was just a situation that turned really horrible and ugly, and because someone just didn't want to be in this, and there was some abusive stuff, and I've forgiven them, and but sometimes there's things that we have to own up to with this illness. And in that situation, I didn't have anything to own up to. I had not done anything wrong. I was just horrifically ill, and just, someone didn't want to be a part of that long term, anymore. So, but you guys saw many of my videos that I made in my apartment, and some of them were really bad because I wanted to video the waves and the windows to give hope. And I know a lot of you guys told me I was helping you, and it really gave me sense of purpose, and you guys really helped me so much, And I really felt that I was beating this. I didn't have any doubt that I would make it, as I do now. Everything changed. And if I had been any kind of a monster or horrible person or in my apartment, or if I'd been doing anything ugly or causing commotion or anything other than being sick. My neighbors would have known. There would have been complaints if I'd been slamming doors and screaming all, just, what was happening was basically what you guys saw on video. And if I had been that kind of person, my youngest son would not have opened up his home to me as he did, and was, ready to, to take the rest of this on and help, and help me and his wife. And they were very gracious to do that. We didn't really have another choice. It wasn't a choice that a mother wants for her newly married son. It was very humbling, but I was very grateful. But things did not go well. Now, when things don't go well, we have to look at that and say, okay, what was my part? And own up to, if we had a part in that. And I did have a part in that. Because after a few weeks I allowed myself to feel, I felt, that I was being, ignored, not acknowledged, and alienated, to a certain extent, and didn't really understand it at first. So, but sometimes other people have issues, and there's only so much that they can deal with, and I wasn't, so, the thing is, if we're feeling those things, like what I'm going through now, whether they're justified, whether they're not justified, the answer is not for us, to slam doors, beat on doors, scream, and that happened at my son's house. And at first he was empathetic at first, as he has been, or had been for through it all. And it did finally come to an end, and I felt horrible, but there were some things that happened on both sides. But the thing is, I played a part in what happened, and even though nothing had been happening for a few weeks before, in fact, the night that everything really fell apart, my son and I were supposed to have dinner together, but it's just, and we'll go into all the details, but and if I had been being a monster, we wouldn't have been planning on having dinner together that night down in my space. And oh boy, I'm sorry, you guys. But the thing is, and there's been a lot of bad things that happen, and then you find yourself shockingly being evicted from your own child's home, and so you come to live in another family member's home, which we had already done once in the beginning after I left my fiance's house, and it only lasted a month. That's how I ended up in my apartment. So kind of knew that it was gonna, it was not gonna be easy, but I could never have imagined how it's turned out. And so I needed to set the record straight on a few things. because I don't want stories out there that I was ever abusive to my mother. This is a small house. I have my own little space, but we live quite differently, and I'm OCD, and I was letting the continuation of the what had happened between myself and my youngest son really affect me, especially through the holidays, and I began getting sicker and sicker. You know, and my own doing, allowing that. Even my mom would say, you're allowing, you know, that to destroy you, and I was, and I was getting sicker and sicker, and that was very hard on my mom. And because it was stress that I was not coping with, and as my condition got worse, then that makes it even harder on, you know, family, and they become more distant, and then you find yourself not being able to do the things that you were doing for yourself, for them. The next thing you know, someone doesn't want to be around you. But and has there been, you know, and you find yourself raising your voice at times, but it's more out of like anguish type. It's not like you know, it's not. It was rarely in like anger. I've never, people have known me my whole life, have known that I've never been an angry person or one to lash out. You know, to talk too much, I can be too opinionated, I can, you know, need to have, you know, the last word. People say I'm overly sensitive. You know, impatient, somewhat spoiled. I will admit everything. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm this perfect angel that I ever have been. But I know my heart and soul. I know I'm not an angry person. I know I've never deliberately hurt anybody, certainly not physically, and but what's been happening the last few months especially, a so-called friend that I'd only known from Facebook actually came over to take me to the store, and then some of you guys might have seen that on Facebook Live, but they came into the home here and were severely abusive. I have about 35 minutes of it on audio recording. And I mean, and my mom was participating. I was being mocked. I was being ridiculed. Hands were wailing in the air, you know, as like mocking me, and my shaking, and so I was being tormented, and I'd say I have it on audio. I was pleading for my mother to ask this person to please leave, and she wouldn't. And this person ended up on all fours on their knees, screaming and putting their arm out in the air, you know, oh God, Shelly, help me, and I'm just freaking out because I didn't know, like, okay, are they continuing to mock me? Are they really sick, or what's going on? Anyway, it was a horrific situation, and the thing is, it was allowed to happen. It was it was something that I will say was done to me, and was allowed to be done to me. And I was not doing anything. And then the fact this person that I had already blocked from my phone just showed up at my house, or showed up here at 9 o'clock at night. And I didn't let him in. My mom did. And so that's the kind of things that have been happening. And since that particular night especially, things got severely, severely worse. And I had actually purchased a firearm 2 or 3 months ago, because that's how bad things were. And my son is under the wrong, my youngest son's under the wrong impression about what happened with this, but it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago that I was told here that if I turned that over, that they would help me get my own place. But I couldn't get any answers as to details like how much budget, where could I go, where. So I just, my thoughts were it's just a ploy, you know, to get it, and nothing will happen, because I've been betrayed many times in my life, my family, or this in this situation. So and you lose a lot of trust going through this, and I kept, you know, asking for answers and wasn't getting any. So it was like, well, then I can't do that, because I don't trust this, you know, what you're saying. Sorry guys, I'm trying not to act like I'm as sick as I am, but anyway, so but because I did end up one night out all night, and had called a friend to basically say goodbye, and you know, and came very close, I did end up, you know, relinquishing that here. But by then the offer of, if there really was one, was off the table, as far as helping me, and things have just gotten so bad. They've gotten so bad. And I get a horrific text message from my youngest son, because I had basically left a note in his mailbox. If they would allow me to come back and pay, you know, several $100s in rent, as much as I could, $500 or $600, because I'm on disability, so that I could, you know, and assuring them nothing like that would ever happen, and I wouldn't ask anything. I just need my own space and some peace to you know, to get through this. And I got people on Twitter, you know, messaging me, you know, their tapering methods, it took away a lot of their symptoms and stabilized them, and so just a place to just do that and get back on my diet and everything. And but I was not expecting the response that I shockingly got from that note. And it's not that you can't understand someone saying, you know, well, we're just not comfortable or whatever, but the hatefulness, you know, like, and using words like demented, and because that's certainly something that we're not, is demented. We're not crazy. I've been called those things, and crazy, and been called here. It's been said that I'm a great actress, that I'm pitiful. I've heard phrases like, I can't stand you, from the person that gave you life. You cry and you just, and that's just for starters. It's gotten so much worse, you know. And everybody's telling me the stress, the stress. You got it. Even my doctor. I don't know how I drove to the doctor on Thursday. Didn't have anybody to help me. I don't hear from anybody except Benzo friends. But they're scattered all over, you know? You guys, a lot of you watching this are Benzo friends. It's a blur, but somehow I made it. Luckily, it's not far. And she told me she's shocked. And she's absolutely shocked at the decline from when she saw me almost a year ago, when I was certainly not well, but I was doing 5-mile brisk walks still and staying very, very, you guys know me, I used to always have my big giant protein shake. And my doctor is like, she just can't believe it. Each time that I see her, I'm worse, and she had never seen me this bad. And I've lost about 12 pounds, and I mean, I'm thinner than I've been in, gosh, probably 15 years or so. And because of stress, also I developed some esophagitis. I was in the ER a couple times within 48 hours with such severe stomach pain. I never had stomach issues in my apartment, never. Not the first, you know. I had food poisoning, though, that I dealt with by myself for a couple days, and that was but I never had stomach issues at all. No benzo belly, no stomach pain, no nausea, none of that. But stress will do it for sure. And my mom was the one that went with me to the ER during those times. She was very supportive then. But now, the last few weeks have been so awful. And you listen to phone calls and you're being talked about, and and you're being completely ignored. And I was just out there saying that, because you hear them on the phone with family and an upcoming wedding that's happening, laughing and carrying on while you're suffering, and so you just go and you just ask, why can't you care? Why can't you care? What's humane about this? What is humane about listening to anyone? Like I tweeted, like, you know, dangerous convicts are treated better than a lot of us are, you know? And, you sit back here in your little room to what little hope you still have left. Trying to get through to your family. And I know people have told me, look, a lot of people make it being abandoned and alienated, and but some of us are even going through, you know, more, even, it's a level of abusive type, you know, treatment, and like I said, things happened at my son's house that I would give anything to take back, because I was never a mother who would behave in such a way, out of being hurt or emotional. But I know, and I did see, and my son was having a really difficult time, but when I would see what he was going through, I mean, I would hug him, and I remember one time he said, you know, my sick mom's hugging me, you know, and even though I wish I could take back some of the things that happened, because they weren't acceptable, but still, if I could never, day after day, listen to my child crying and suffering in a room. I don't care what age, and not acknowledge them and not at least tell them that I wish there was more I could do, or that I'm sorry that they're suffering. Hug them, hold them, and I don't care what had happened. If I was angry at them or they had lashed out at me, and I would try to focus on, hey, they're sick and this is why this has happened, you know, but this is my child, and they're hurting and they're suffering and they feel so alone. I could not. And then some people might say, well, yeah, but look what you did. You were screaming and you were causing them. Yes. And I've owned up to that countless times and apologized, and tried to explain the reasons, you know, behind it, you know. And because like I said, it wasn't happening with in my apartment. It's not what my neighbor saw that would help me. It's not what my son saw. He saw his mom horrifically ill a lot, but he never saw like me slamming doors, screaming, whatever, because even though I was so sick, I still felt that I had love and some support and empathy, and even if it was just, you know, a few people or a couple people that were consistently there. But now you're in a situation where you feel like you're despised, where you're looked at as despicable, where you're now being threatened with another eviction. And what I didn't know, you guys, is eviction, even if it's domestic or whatever, that stays on public record. So when you go to apply for low-income housing like I did, you get declined because they just look at it as a landlord, you know, evicted you, you know. And I didn't realize that, or I would have sent a letter of explanation, or and now you find yourself, it's like, how is this happening? You find yourself and you're being faced with eviction again. And not because you've been this monster, not because you've been raving or running around screaming and slamming doors. If I had been doing that, I would tell you, yes, you know what, I've been doing it every day here. And I will own up to what I do, what I say. You know, and no, it's never, you know, no story for the most part, other than, I mean, even when, I mean, I grew up in a pretty abusive childhood. My stepfather, you know, beat my mom all the time, and police were always at our house, and it was a lot of horrific things, and please don't get me wrong when I say this, because there's never an excuse for violence, but my stepfather was an alcoholic, but there's still always two sides, and, you know, and it's like, sometimes something can be avoided if you just don't say anything, or you stay out of the room, or if you know that person is that way, then just stay away from them, and, you know, and don't say, you know, don't put yourself in that situation, and you know, so basically what I'm saying is there's always like two, you know, two sides. Not to say that there's it means it's justifiable, certainly whenever there's violence, but just like for myself and my sons, it's like, under this, it's like, okay, before you do that, before you slam that door, you know, take a breath, stop and think, and, you know, try to open the doors more of communication, and, you know, and instead of, you know, causing grief. But here, it's it's just awful. There's nobody, and it's like, how is this happening? You're being yelled at, you're being screamed at, called names, just, and it's like, but what's coming at me is causing my condition to be worse. And I got people, my doctor, everybody telling me, but you don't have a place to go, and you feel trapped, and you feel like, and then you find yourself waking up with such panic and fear and terror that wasn't happening before. Not every day. And especially when you feel like nobody cares. And instead of being spoken to, you're sent a text message, you know? You have this much time to get out. Get out where? And someone's not even talking to you. And you try to just talk to them, and it's like, you're just spoken to with such animosity and such hatred. And it's like, I just want you to care. I just want you to care. That, you know, that when family mocks, if you're being mocked or humiliated or made fun of or called names or all that, I mean, you don't just do it to me, you know, because when you do that, you're negating what we're going through, and so many are going through this all over the world. And I think the Benzo Coalition just tweeted something about how many suicides they're hearing about every month. And these are just the ones that, you know, that they find out about from people that maybe have posted before, or like myself, who video or tweeted, you know. If it happens to me, you know, it would be well known because I'm known. But I know people that have communicated with me privately that in the past that aren't on social media. So if it was to happen to them, you know, it likely wouldn't be known in this community. So So basically, and the other thing is, okay, you get, you get told that you're mental and you need to be in a hospital. Well, not by my children, they know better, because we all know what happens with that, and I have made communication or tried to, and have actually gotten so desperate and called places, and you guys know what happens. They all say the same thing. Unless you have like $50,000 and you can go to some fancy place in Arizona, maybe you have a better shot, because they deal with nutrition and trauma and everything for a certain amount of time you can stay. But for those of us with Medicare and whatever, it's like, well, you know what we get? We get a place that's going to take us off the meds in 7 days, and then if our insurance might allow us to stay for another week or two, and then they're going to put us on all kinds of psych meds. My doctor was so desperate that, and actually I was too, that she put me on Seroquel. And it was 150 ER, and I didn't, let's just say, and you guys know me, I've always advocated against these other drugs. And, but I'm still on 50. I took myself off of it, and I still had some of the 100s that she put me on first. And she was hoping that, because she's a primary care, and she's wonderful, but she's learning. She was hoping it would calm me down so I can taper, because I haven't tapered in so long. In fact, a few months ago, ended up, and I won't go into the details of it, but just know there was a desperate reason that it happened. A situation with my mom that my doctor is just like, and my doctor was in such a fear for my life that she increased me, but I got scared, and because I was up to like 12 or whatever, and I just dropped myself back down to 8, which is where I'm at now. So I was from 40 to 8, but I was at 5.65, you guys. And that's devastating, to know that you did something that you would never, ever have considered doing before. Taking another medication and increasing your dose that never, ever, ever would have happened before. But and you're trying to tell the family, look, if I go do that, I mean, you can ask my fiance what happened, even though I was on a much more Klonopin and all that for years, but so and everybody all over is telling me, no, don't, whatever you do, Shelly, don't do that, But what are you supposed to do? You're sitting here trying to stay alive, and nobody, maybe because you're not pacing and you're not like constantly screaming, but they don't, oh my gosh. What stress has done for me. I think about where I was a year ago. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at my videos from a year ago. I mean, my son and I were moving out of my apartment. I packed up my entire apartment by myself. We went up and down 4 flights of stairs for 3 days, moving me out of my apartment, just the two of us. There's no possible way I could do that. I baked cookies for the 2 little boys that loved me so much in the apartment complex the weekend of my move, when I had kitchen stuff everywhere, but I had promised them some cookies, and I baked cookies. Just, I wouldn't go out dough already made, but still. Oh God, why did heaven? You guys, I know that there's been I haven't been to my YouTube channel in so long, and I know there's been so many countless comments, and I'm sorry that I haven't been able to get to them, and I might not get to the first one. You know, I don't know if I'll get to the first one on this one. Because honestly, especially the last few days, this is totally different, you guys. This is totally different. Yes, we've all had times where we didn't think we were going to survive. But for me, I always knew there was a window coming. There hasn't been windows in so long. And I get up in a sheer state of panic and terror in my environment, and just knowing that, you know, how it's gonna be, and I just, you know what, I've had all I can take. I've honestly had all I can take. And all I want to do, you know, I understand that my mom is 79. She didn't need, she can't be a caretaker. But there's a difference in not being able to be a caretaker. And when it comes to, you know, cruelty and just horrible things that are happening, and you know, and she'll say, you know, she wants to make it to 80, and I'm like, but Mom, I want to make it. My next birthday in October will be 60. And I said, I'm just trying to make it to 60, and you know, I want the same opportunity that you had. I want to see my grandchildren grow up. I can't be in my grandson's life. He's 2, and I haven't seen him since Christmas Day. A couple of phone calls. Does he have no help and no support? And and you know what? I would give my life right now in a second, and I don't mean my life like this. If I was perfectly healthy and still out running every day, and you know, working, running, happy, would I still give my life for either of my children in a second? Absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't even have to think about it. You know, if that was put to me, you know. But it's like, I want my parent, I want my mom to care whether I have the same opportunities that she did growing up. I mean, with grandchildren. My mom at 59 was still working and having the time of her life. She's always been very generous, and I'm gonna have to say that. My mom has done a lot for me, and I've done a lot for her. She's always been very, very generous with everybody, to a fault, actually. She was to my kids, spoiled them. They both had, that's how they both got their first cars. You know, I wouldn't have had a place to live after I lost my job at Sam's Club years ago without my mom. And she's done a lot, and I've done a lot in, you know, not as payback, but it's like, because, you know, you love them, and you know, I've always felt I've gone above and beyond, you know, and no other family was here, you know, except me over the years. And all of a sudden you feel like you mean nothing, that you mean nothing, and all those things, and all the things you've shared and together, and all the special memories that you've tried to make for them, that they mean nothing, that they don't mean anything. And it's in shock, you're in shock because it's like, but wait a minute, okay? I know I was a really good mom. My oldest son says so. I know I was a really good mom. And I was a really great daughter. And and then you look it around and you go, but it's almost like I've been this crazed drug addict on the street that won't get help as far as the way you feel, as far as the way you're being treated. You sit alone and you feel like, am I even a human being? Am I even a human being? Because it doesn't seem like it matters whether I am on the breathing side of life. Well, I guess if you're alive, there's only one side you're breathing, but you know what I mean. And so what happens then is you get more feelings like nothing matters anymore, that you don't care either, because you can't get anybody to listen and to really care and to really believe that this has been fatal for so many and how much you want to live. And but then you find yourself, like I was very recently, saying it's over. It's over. It needs to end. I can't anymore. And that's where you find yourself again. You just want someone to give you a hug. You want someone to say, hey, come here. I'll show you compassion. If they're not a benzo person, then it's like, hey, I'll learn. I'll help you through this, just as I would if you had cancer or something else. And you pray to God every day, all night. You know, is that gonna happen before it's too late? Is someone gonna say, Shelly, come here. Come back, come here. Can you hold on another week? Because we can work this out in a week, or... Honestly, so I just, it's like I said on Twitter today, it's like, you know, you're not just hanging on by a thread, you're hanging on by a very, very shredded thread. And you don't really know how to hold on any longer. And you don't want to be the next RIP, like there was a recent one. Again, I've only been staying on Twitter, nothing else. But it's like I said that, you know, I don't want to be the next RIP from this community with crying emojis next to it. But that's that's what you feel like. You know, it's like you're gonna be next. And and I know people who see this, especially if I put it on Facebook, it's like, all you need is God. Just hold on. God will see you through this. You guys, I'm a woman of faith. I had a 10-year music ministry. I am a woman of faith. But I was telling God last night, I was like, I've been holding on, and I had my Bible out this morning reading in Psalms, just going from one to the next, It's like, I've been faithful through this, but it's like, you find yourself saying, hey God, can you do your part now? Or what is it that I haven't done? That things could get so bad. It feels so hopeless. I mean, I am a mom. I am a grandmother. I am a sister. I'm a niece. I'm an aunt. I'm a cousin. A family all over the country. None of them communicate with me. And I mean, some haven't even before this, but you guys, if you guys have followed me, I believe I've shown my character, the kind of person that I am. If you're on Facebook, you can go back through my photos and you can clearly see the kind of mother that I've always been, even through photos. Read the captions. Special collages you put together for your child's birthday, or a video from when they were singing, playing guitar when they were little. All those special things you do as a mom. And now you sit here and you're trying not to have that, as someone told me, the victim attitude, but it's like, I can't, my brain just can't wrap my head around all of this anymore. And you don't want to wake up to it another day, guys. You just want someone to say, let me help you. And I have had a couple people say that I have someone on Twitter who reached out to me, desperately trying to somehow help me figure out housing, but they're in Texas, they don't really know what to do. Someone else, total strangers again, that called me on, that I called, and then a lot of specific diet things to help, that have been proven to help, but it's like, I mean, I need goat kefir, and I need, things that I can't find around where I am at, and and it's like, I don't even have, I hardly have any food in the house right now, and so it's like, then you get overwhelmed with, like, people saying, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. It's like, but it's a little easier said than done, when you don't have someone in your corner saying, okay, okay, this is what they said, let me make sure we get that stuff, and let's try this, and you feel like it's your last hope, but you can't even, you know, do everything they're saying, and oh my God. Oh my God. And for those of you who are going to see this that think, well, this is ridiculous, why is she still sick? Everybody's different. I have friends on Twitter that have taken one dear sweet friend is 4.5 years for her. Dr. Christy Huff, who's been an angel to me, but she didn't know what else to do. She just finished her taper. And it took her, she had to go very, very slow. I'm slower than some. But it took her 3 years, I think 3 years, 4 months, and whatever, I believe, to taper 15 milligrams of Valium. So this is all very, very quite common. But if you're in, but I had come down from 40 to 5.65 in less than 2 years. So, you know, everybody's different. And, but like I say, I had the support. And if I'd kept my support from the beginning, like I have said before, you guys, if my fiance had been a forever man, like I thought he was, I believe I'd be already through this. Because I would have been in a very supportive, loving environment to do my taper without the stress. And because I was doing really well, as you guys saw, even living alone in my apartment. So imagine if I still had my home and the love and support of, you know, of someone who loved me as I thought they did. So that can make all the difference in the world. And it doesn't mean it's good, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that people who, you know, who have that or just breeze right through. No, but it can mean that you can keep your taper pace and not have to maybe hold for longer periods, or just certainly keep whatever stress would be doing to you, you know, because it has killed me. Stress has literally, it's killed me, you guys, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I want to be around for my kids. I miss hearing them play music. I want to be around for my kids. I want to be around for my grandson. And I don't think it's going to happen. So you get terrified. Unlike anything else before, of your thoughts and of how are you going to do this another day. And when I would have that in my apartment, it was like, okay, it's the drug, and you know it's going to pass in a few days. And it does, and it did, and you had your help, and you had your community, and but it's not that way anymore. Just don't know what to do. And I want a miracle. I need a miracle, you guys. So, just for those of you guys, to ourselves. Yes, it's hard on everybody. It is. It's hard. But what severe illness is not hard on family? But this one can be made certainly better with some help and some support, and family educating themselves on what's the best way to, to get somebody through this. You guys, there's too many people dying from something so senseless. And I'm scared. I am. I'm really scared. This is not like any other video I've ever made before where I've said, this might be my last, or I can't do this anymore. This is, we're in a whole new ballpark here. So, there's probably a lot more I could say, but I think I've already gone, an hour already. But I just needed to clarify some things. And I need, I need a lot of prayer, you guys. Because I honestly don't know how to hold on anymore. You don't hear from friends. Whether you went to church with them, whether friends, family. And you don't want, when they all gather or finally show up, to be when it's too late. So, you guys, I need an immediate answer somehow. Of course, if I'm not checking my comments. But, I don't know if it shows my email address. But, you can get in touch with me at Shell_John on Twitter. Because I feel really desperate. I feel really, really desperate. And I wish my family understood the desperation that comes with this, especially when, you feel so alone. And you're getting worse and worse and worse. And, gosh, you guys. Oh my God. I want some help. Please. I can't go on like this. I just can't go on like this. If anybody out there, because I wanted to clarify some things, just, and do I would give anything. I'm not even allowed to go sit in the living room anymore. And sometimes that would help, just to sit out there. And it would, sometimes help calm me. And I'm not even allowed to go sit out there. There's pillows all piled in the recliner where I used to sit as a definite, sign of not being welcome. I can't even imagine doing that to my child. I'm sorry. I can't. No matter what. No matter what. No matter what. Especially if they were just crying and pleading with me. Just, hey. So, for my grandson Henry, you're so beautiful. And wish I was a part of your life right now the way I always imagined, even though you're only, 2 and 4 months or 5 months. But there's things I already thought I'd be doing, is going to the park and they go to the zoo a lot and things like that. And but your Grammy loves you so much, and I'm so grateful that you will grow up so educated on this medication that this will never happen to you, or hopefully any of your friends or loved ones. Okay, so I'm gonna sign off now, and I really appreciate your guys' prayers. Obviously, I'm alive today. Some of you may have my phone number. Anyway, I know a lot of you are going through this too, alone and suffering like you can't imagine. But I never used to really feel like I wasn't gonna survive. Until the last few months. The last few weeks, really big time. The last few days. Okay. There's a old song, I always say I'm gonna sign off and then I say something else, but there's an old song by one of my favorite Christian groups, old song by New Song, called Miracle. And I always wanted to get to where I could sing that song. It says, I believe in miracles. I believe in miracles because I'm a miracle myself. I believe the good Lord hears the ones who cry for help. After all that he has done for me, I believe in miracles. I'm waiting, you guys. But I'm definitely running out of time. God bless you guys, always. Godspeed.